Hey everybody, this is Anita Anello, and I'm here with my good friend Sana Asher. And as you guys know, we do this all the time. We're just going to have a conversation. I want to be able to, first of all, I want to thank Sana for having this conversation with me, for taking time. You guys, as you listen to this conversation, we have some dialogue. Sana is amazing. So, Sana, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, and then we'll get going.
Anita, thank you. You are very kind. Hey, guys, good afternoon, or good evening, or good morning, wherever you're seeing us from. My name is Sana Asher, and I am a SAP veteran, have spent 3 decades in the SAP ecosystem. And here I am chatting with my dear friend Anita about what she's been up to these days.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Thanks.
All right, so let's dive in, Anita. I'm sure everyone tuning in wants to see what these two ladies are going to talk about today. I'm sure they're very, very interested.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about what you do.
So I help SAP independent consultants that are usually generally stuck at hourly rate billing, and that's kind
Okay.
of killing them both in time and money. And I help them create what we call high impact, high ticket offers.
Fantastic. And that is so different than anybody that you talk in the to the SAP space, right? Everyone's driven by hourly rates, everyone's
Yep.
driven by, outcomes. So what happened? What made you make that shift? Why did you even think of something like this?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for asking, Sana. So, as you know, I've been in the SAP world for more than 20 years, and you can look up my LinkedIn profile and all that background information, and we'll just kind of get right to it. But a couple of years ago, it was really interesting. My business was going okay. I was doing coaching and consulting for SAP consultants and SAP clients. And one of the things that happened in our household is we had a situation where my husband went in for an outpatient procedure and about an hour later ended up in the emergency room. And in that time, while he was in the cardiac wing for a week, he actually lost his job. And
Ouch.
so it created an environment in our household. I was a homeschooling mom, ran a business, and all of a sudden this thing happened in our life that we did not expect. And can I be honest and say it really, just really vulnerable, it really rocked our world. It rocked our family. It was really challenging on our marriage. But one of the things that it also did is in our finances, my husband at the time was the primary breadwinner in our household, and my business was doing okay, but not really crushing it or taking care of everything. And it really caused me to have a shift in my mindset, Sana,
Mm,
because can I tell you, just real genuinely candid,
yes.
I kind of freaked out. And so one of the things that I did is I had a coach at the time and I went to a mastermind event. And one of the things that he told me, he's like, Anita, you have all this experience. What if we package it up a little bit differently and present it to the marketplace in a way that says, I know what I'm doing. I can help people get this outcome that they're looking for in their
Right.
projects and in their businesses. And we did that. And do you know, Sana, it resulted in a 600K client in our
Wow.
household in my business. And it actually set me on a different trajectory of being able to make these tiny tweaks to be, I have a coach that says this, these tiny tweaks that help us to get to giant peaks that really transitioned a whole bunch of things. Because in those moments, my husband needed to come home and heal. He was like, it was a really serious
Right.
situation. He later had surgery, all these kinds of things. We had kids that that we are taking care of. Like
Right.
I needed both not only income freedom, but I also needed time freedom. And I
Time
need to
freedom.
like
Yeah.
dispel that lie that said in the corporate world that we kind of all know that said you could only have one or the other. Because I was genuinely convinced that I could have both. And I really wanted to be able to go after that. And now I've helped hundreds of clients do the same things in their businesses and have that same time and money freedom.
That is an amazing story. And like the ancient sayings go, Anita, I think we are uprooted from where we are and we are planted in a newer place just because God has something else in store for us. So I
Yeah,
think you did fantastic. So kudos to you for kind of, navigating that and here you are. So that
yeah,
is amazing.
yeah,
That
yeah.
is
Thank
amazing.
you. It's been a journey, that's for
I'm
sure.
sure it is. I'm sure it is. So one of the things I've heard you talk about a lot of times, in our conversations and also in your podcasts is, the Wealthy SAP Consultant Formula, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What is that formula, Anita, and how do you help people go from that hourly rate to a better outcome?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, what gets me super excited about this is customers don't buy the fact that I have lots of letters behind my name or even the fact that I have more than 20 years experience in the SAP world. They actually don't. That's not what draws our clients in. So, what we do in the Wealthy SAP Consultant Masterclass and then in the formula is I help other consultants do a couple of key things, and we teach this in a masterclass format. Number one is we help people focus on the outcome that we can get results. Sana, listen to this phrase and see what happens in your mind as we talk here.
Hmm.
If I can help you put a 6 and 7 figure day in your business, or if I can help you get a 6 figure client and then build a 7 figure business, is your brain hearing what I'm hearing right now, where you're like, wait a minute, that's outcome based, results
Yes.
based
Yes.
marketing. And what happens in the mind is it actually does a couple of things. It calls out our higher ticket, high impact buyers because those people are actually looking and listening for us to say something different in the marketplace. What it doesn't do, and what I love, is it all actually repels the people that are hitting me up on LinkedIn all day long. I love them. They're amazing. But when they ask me, Anita, do you want to go work on this $65 an hour project? And I'm like, no,
No.
because you don't understand. You actually don't like that's great. There's a slice of the market that's perfectly suited for. I'm not knocking that at all. I honor
Right.
those kinds of projects and those clients. I love that. But those buyers are trying to find the cheapest solution in the marketplace. That's not who I serve. I
Correct.
serve those clients that want these big outcomes. They want to be able to work with me and maybe double their revenue in the next 2 to 5 years by putting a system in their business. So then that's the second part of it. In the masterclass, what we teach is number one, we teach shifting your language and your marketing based, it's called attraction marketing in the marketing world, if you're familiar with that, but no big
Yep.
deal if not.
No,
But
I've heard
really,
it and I've read the book as well.
yeah, yeah. So what we're doing is we're focused on results-based outcomes that we can
Yes.
get our clients that calls in the right people, repels the wrong people. The second thing that we do in the master class is I teach people how to create a system. Because
Mm.
the other thing that happens when our clients come to us and I say, no problem, I can get you the result that you're looking for based on my expertise, which is different from everybody else's in the marketplace, right? We all have these areas of expertise,
Yes.
but then I'm systematically going to say, we're going to go to step one, then we're going to go to step two, then we're going to go to step three. We're going to walk through the pillars. Another word for systems is pillars. And that also signals to my high ticket buyers, hey, she knows what she's doing. She has a system that repeats itself over and over and over again. The other bonus in that is it actually shifts the burden off of me as a person. Like, did Anita get the results for me, or does her system get the results? The
Correct. Correct.
system has been proven with 450 clients that says it works over and over and over and over again. The system has produced at last count, probably $17 million plus in revenue because the system works over and over and over and over again. And I don't say those numbers to impress anybody at all, but just to impress upon you what is possible. So those are just a couple of things that we handle and when we go through the masterclass and teach people these tiny shifts that have to happen in our mind for us to be able to see the marketplace a little bit differently and then be able to implement these pieces in our business.
Fantastic. And what gravitates people to come to you, Anita, to, come for the masterclass? That's number one. You
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about a lot of the systems and the outcomes. So
Yeah.
that's, I think, I want to hear about that a little bit more, about, what gravitates them to you and also what holds them back, right? So
Oh,
what
yeah.
makes you come to them? And then, okay, I'm not sure if that's what I want to do. So I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm actually going to answer that kind of in the reverse because as we
Okay,
talk about what
perfect.
holds people back, it
Yes.
actually draws people in all at the same time. So what's super interesting is when we start to recognize that actually, do you know, Sana, like regardless of what's going on in the news, regardless of what's going on and you see in the headlines of the economy and all these other kinds of things, these fear-based
Yes.
conversations that are going on specifically in America, but I know that they're going on around the world because I talk to SAP consultants from around the globe. But what happens is when I start, and this is what holds people back, if in my mindset, I start to think there's not enough business to go around, there's this, there's that, and there's a whole list of things that we all worry about. But instead, I actually allow myself to shift to see that there's more projects going around than ever before. There's more money in the economy than ever before. There's more business for you and more business for me, with more
Yes.
business left around that to go around for all of us. When I start to actually shift to see what's possible instead of focusing on what I don't see, and that we call it, it's like we become aware and our eyes
Yes.
open to what's possible, all of a sudden everything starts to shift. So the big thing,
Mhm.
one of the big things that holds people back is our mindset. That's
Mm.
I'll use some different language that in some ways it's language based on scripture. If that's not what somebody's listening and they adhere to in life, no problem. It's a natural law that works. But if I have a lack mindset or a poverty mindset and I'm always focused on worrying and there's not enough to go around, that's actually what I'm going to see. So
Right.
it'll color my idea. And so as we have people walk through the masterclass and we open up their eyes to see what's actually possible, to take all that expertise that they have, make some shifts, put a results-based outcome and a system in their business and a whole bunch of other things that we cover in the masterclass, then all of a sudden they start to see these shifts happen in their business. The undercurrent of that, and this is actually one of the things that draws people to me, Son, is what I kind of hinted at a little bit earlier. I love, I absolutely love like locking arms with other SAP consultants, those moms, those dads, those husbands, those wives, those people that are believers. They know they have a God-given passion to not just do well in the marketplace and in their business and financially, but also to have time freedom so that they can have healthier marriages, so they can have healthier relationships with their family members, so they can have time to be able to care for those that we actually love. So I know that people are drawn to me when I talk about not just money freedom, but also time freedom, because I do believe that's actually all part of our God-given dreams and desires and passion, that we wouldn't just have one side of the equation. But I'm a homeschooling mom, so I want to be able to have more time to travel with my kids and homeschool and do the things that God's called us to do. And so I know that in my spirit, that's also what draws people to me as we have these conversations and we coach people along the way and we help them to see the success that they're looking for as well.
Wow, fantastic. I think that's definitely a very big shift from, how the current market conditions are and how, everyone's just so paralyzed by fear. Oh my
Yeah.
God, what is going to happen, right? So I think
Yeah.
it's an amazing shift that you're making. And I definitely think it's a huge service you're doing to, everyone out there. So kudos to you.
Yeah.
Anything else, Anita, that you think that holds people back? I know you talked a lot about it, but there's anything else that you see?
So what I just referred to what we call internal limiting beliefs. And by the
Yeah.
way, everybody has limiting beliefs. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter if
we
I'm
all
going to use
do.
some
Yeah.
monetary value. If you make $100,000 a year, or if you make $1 billion a year, we all have limiting beliefs. They're
Yes.
just at different levels. So hear me when I say like it's normal. But when we get around people that help us to see what else is possible, then we break down those old limiting beliefs and we walk forward. The other thing that's actually really interesting that I just kind of alluded to is the people that we hang out with, the circles of friends that we connect with, the colleagues that we know and love and maybe have spent 5 or 15 or 20 years around. That's actually one of the things that holds us back as well. So if I'm constantly around people, in our household, one of the things that we came up with a term when the kids were really little, like don't down push people. It makes sense in the context of our household. It's okay if it doesn't make sense to you. But do you know how when you hang around people that are always, I don't know, I'll make somebody up in my mind. If I'm hanging around somebody that's always watching the news and super negative, that's always complaining about every little thing, that's always saying no matter where I go, everybody's, I don't know, angry, upset, there's not enough and all this kind of stuff. So it's actually the community of people that we hang around with is super, super important. And I've learned this more and more, especially in the higher end masterminds that I've been in the past couple of years in my business. And so the
Mm,
other thing that can hold us back is actually the people that we're around. Now, what I'm not saying is cut off all your friendships and your family members and all that
right.
kind of stuff and just go live by yourself. What I am saying is you start to kind of recognize that there are circles of people, intimate groups of people like that happen in master classes and masterminds and communities and memberships and all that kind of stuff, that in order to not get the same results that we've been getting for all along, and instead change the results and do something a little bit better, expand ourselves a little bit more. We actually have to surround ourselves with people that think a little bit differently than what we do. So that would be the other one of the, there's many things that hold people back, but that's another thing is if I'm not in a community of people that believe the vision that I have. I have a big vision that I know that God's given me. And if I am very protective of who I share that biggest vision with,
Got it.
because when I share it with other people, I recognize it kind of freaks some people out. So what
Mm,
I've learned really the hard way, not amazing, is do you know how it is? Like sometimes you have that dream in your heart and you share it with other people and they're like, no, you can't do that, like right
correct.
away.
This is
So
not, yep, yeah, that's not
yeah,
how you do
nope,
it.
that's
Yep.
not possible. And here's why it's not going to work and all that kind of stuff. So I love and honor sometimes those people. There's a little story that a friend of mine told me, and I like to share all the time. There's a story about the perspective that a turtle has and a giraffe has. So one or the other is not better or anything like that. But can you see the turtle like walks around and feeds off the ground, and so his perspective is on the ground all the time. But the giraffe is way up. I think they have like a 9 foot neck. So the giraffe is way up in the sky. If that, as a matter of fact, if a giraffe drops its head all the way down to his feet for an extended period of time, he'll pass out. So the
Mm,
reason I say that is this giraffe and turtle analogy is that I want to be around the giraffe so that when I share my big vision with the right people in the communities that I know that I can trust that they have big visions. Maybe they're running like I am around coaches that are building $10 million business and $100 million businesses and $400 million businesses. And the reason that I do that, the reason I put myself in sometimes those uncomfortable situations is because I want to learn more. I want to model what they're doing in the marketplace.
yes.
What I don't want to model, and again, it's there's nothing wrong with the turtle's perspective. I just you just want to recognize that there are these two perspectives in life. Is if I hang around with my turtles all the time, then they're the people that are like, nope, you can't do it. Nope, the only way you can succeed is go back and get another degree, get more initials behind your name. And I'm not against education by any means, but that's not what moves us from where we are into wealth. And I'm about growing businesses that are profitable and being wealthy SAP consultants so that we can do more, have more, be more, help more people, those kinds of things. And so those would be the other things that I would mention just right off the bat. The community of people can hold you back. And then you start to see, oh my gosh, I don't know if you have been, Sana, but I've been part of mastermind groups, well-meaning, amazing people, but
Yep,
not the right people for me. And so once you find your right people and they know, like, do you know that we should all be around people? This is what my pastor says, be around people that celebrate you, not tolerate you.
exactly
And he
right.
says this to it all the time. So
Yeah,
it's another perspective on what we're talking about is get around some people that see the vision that you have, that can cheerlead the vision that you have, that can say, I see the gold and I'm going to draw it out in you so that you can go off and do the things that I know that you're called to do.
correct. No, that's
Yeah.
so beautiful, and that is so. I definitely resonates with a lot, with me for sure. And you and I have had so many offline conversations exactly about this, Anita, that
Yeah.
how you and I help each other all the time. We're always talking to each other, we're looking at each other and learning from each other, which I think is incredible. So no, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I did want to close out this conversation, Anita, as a question, follow-up question. What do listeners do next, and how do they connect with you if they're
Yeah.
interested in learning more?
Awesome, awesome. So we'll make sure and drop a link down below for the masterclass to be able to join. Our next one is coming up very soon. So,
Okay.
and I don't run them that often. So be sure to get in. There's two ways to attend the masterclass. One, you can actually attend the masterclass for free. We stream to a private Facebook group. If you don't love Facebook group, because I get this a lot, Anita, I don't love Facebook. No problem. Nothing against Facebook, no problem. But really, what I would encourage everybody to do is to upgrade into the VIP experience. It's $47, so not a big investment. But what it does is it shows a commitment to yourself to be able to learn something else and do something else in your business. The VIP experience, we do a couple of key things that I'll
Okay.
go over real quick with us, Sana. Number one, we talk about when you start creating high ticket, high value offers, there are mistakes that I've made and that other friends of mine have made in this space. And so we'll talk about avoiding those five key mistakes that we do not want to make. So those are very critical. The other thing that you'll do is you get live hot seat coaching when you're in
Okay.
the VIP room. So bring to the table your challenges, your question, and I'll coach you live throughout the masterclass. You have the ability to do Q&A. We do takeaways and feedback the whole way through. It's just a couple of hour commitment to be able to spend the time with it, but I can guarantee this, it'll be the best investment and the best time that you spend in your business this year, bar none. So we have a whole
Wow.
bunch of other things that when you log on to the Wealthy SAP Consultant slash Masterclass page, you'll see everything else that we include in that VIP experience. It's really the place to be, so that we can have a conversation. We can figure out where you are, help you to be able to take those next steps forward. And I'm super excited to be able to serve everybody in this realm. We've had so many people come through the masterclass and they've been so blessed. They've had such breakthrough. We've had clients that have gotten clients right away.
Wow.
And we just love to be able to do that. We love to be able to serve at what I call that Ritz-Carlton five-star level of service. And that's what you get when you come in the VIP experience and come on in to the masterclass that way.
Fantastic. Awesome. Anita, thank you so very much for your time today. I learned a lot, as always, when I chat with you,
Yeah.
and I am looking forward to learning more. And good luck on the masterclass.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sana. I appreciate you being with here with me today. And again, we'll make sure and drop the link down below. It's wealthysapconsultant.com/masterclass, and we'll see you there.
Sure. Have a good one.